Most people think they're stuck because they need more discipline. They don't, and that misunderstanding quietly ruins years of their life, because the real reason most people never change is not that they are lazy, broken, or unmotivated. It's that they're trying to build a new life with an old identity, and that almost never works. You can download the habits, buy the courses, set the goals, and even get a burst of motivation that makes you feel like this time will be different. But if your identity stays the same, your life usually snaps back to what feels familiar. That is why some people keep making progress while others keep starting over. It's not just what they do differently, it's what they believe about who they are. And once you see this, you start noticing it everywhere. You see it in the person who keeps saying they want to get in shape while still thinking of themselves as lazy. You see it in the person who wants to build a business but deep down still sees themselves as someone who never follows through. You see it in the person who wants confidence but keeps rehearsing the identity of someone who is awkward, hesitant, and not enough. That is the trap. Most people are trying to change their actions without changing the identity producing those actions. And that creates a hidden war. On one side, you have your goals. On the other side, you have your self-image, and your self-image usually wins. That is the mindset shift that separates winners from everyone else. Winners do not just ask, "What do I need to do?" They ask, "Who do I need to become?" That sounds small. It is not small. It changes everything. Because behavior that feels impossible under one identity can feel natural under another. If you see yourself as bad with money, saving feels restrictive. If you see yourself as not athletic, exercise feels unnatural. If you see yourself as not confident, speaking up feels fake. But the moment identity changes, behavior starts to change with it. Not perfectly, not instantly, but consistently, and consistency is what most people are really after. Here's how it works. Your mind runs on a loop: identity, action, evidence. First, you hold a belief about who you are. Then that belief shapes your actions, and then those actions create evidence that seems to prove the belief right. So if your identity is, "I'm always behind," your actions may become delay, avoidance, and half-finished effort. Then those actions produce more evidence that you really are behind. Now the loop gets stronger. But this same loop can work for you too. If your identity starts shifting to, "I am someone who follows through," then even one small action matters. One email sent, one workout finished, one page written, one hard conversation handled. Each one becomes evidence, and evidence is what makes a new identity start to feel real. That is why real change usually does not begin with giant breakthroughs. It begins with small actions that cast votes for a different self. And this is where people get it wrong. They think winners have more willpower, sometimes maybe, but more often winners just have less internal conflict. Their actions are aligned with the story they believe about themselves. They are not forcing every move through sheer discipline. They are acting in alignment with identity. That is a much more powerful source of momentum. Now here's where this really matters. Not when life is easy, but when life punches you in the face, when you get rejected, when you fail, when you get ignored, when the plan falls apart, when your confidence drops. That is when identity becomes visible. Because in those moments, most people start asking terrible questions. Why does this always happen to me? What does this say about me? Maybe I'm just not the kind of person who can do this. And those questions are dangerous because they do not just describe pain. They reinforce identity. They turn one setback into a self-definition. Winners tend to do something different. They still feel the hit. They still feel disappointment, fear, frustration, and embarrassment, but they ask better questions. What can this teach me? What does this reveal? What would the person I want to become do next? What is one move I can make from here? Same event, different meaning, different response, different future. That is why two people can go through nearly the same setback and come out with completely different lives. One person treats failure like a verdict. The other treats failure like data. One person collapses into the old story. The other uses the moment to strengthen a new one. That gap between what happens and what you make it mean is where your future is often decided. And the people who seem strongest in life are usually not the people with the fewest problems. They are the people who got better at controlling meaning. There is another shift winners make that most people miss. They stop treating discomfort like proof they are on the wrong path. Most people feel discomfort and immediately pull back. If it feels awkward, uncertain, risky, or emotionally exposed, they assume something is wrong. But discomfort is often not a warning, it is a threshold. It is the feeling of your old identity losing control. Think about that. The moment you try to become someone new, your old self will protest. It will say this is not you. It will say you are forcing it. It will say go back to what is familiar. And if you do not understand what is happening, you will think that discomfort means stop. But a lot of the time, discomfort means growth is finally getting traction. Winners understand this. They do not wait to feel fully ready. They do not wait until action feels natural. They move while it still feels awkward. They speak while their voice still shakes. They start before confidence fully arrives. They let action teach identity. That is the difference. Now let's make this practical. If you want to change your life, stop focusing only on outcomes for a second. Stop saying, I want to lose weight. Stop saying, I want to be more productive. Stop saying, I want to be more confident. Stop saying, I want to be successful. Instead, ask, who is the kind of person that naturally creates those outcomes? That question changes everything. Maybe the answer is, I am a person who keeps promises to myself. I am a person who takes action before I feel ready. I am a person who handles discomfort instead of escaping it. I am a person who follows through. I am a person who respects my body. I am a person who learns instead of collapses. Now, once you choose that identity, do not try to prove it with something dramatic. That is where people sabotage themselves. They choose a new identity and then try to validate it with a giant burst of effort. That usually backfires. Instead, cast one small vote, just one. If you want to become a writer, write one paragraph. If you want to become healthier, take a 10-minute walk. If you want to become more confident, send the message you have been avoiding. If you want to become more disciplined, do the task you said you would do before your brain starts negotiating. Small actions matter because they create evidence, and evidence is more persuasive than motivation. Motivation is a mood, evidence is a memory, and your brain trusts memory more than hype. That is why identity change sticks when motivational speeches do not. Because you are no longer trying to feel different first, you are giving yourself proof. Now here is a simple exercise that can start rewiring this almost immediately. For the next 30 days, every night, ask yourself 3 questions. What happened today that I interpreted negatively? What is another interpretation that gives me more power, clarity, or agency? What is one small action I can take tomorrow based on that better interpretation? That is it. 3 questions, a few minutes a night. But this is powerful because it trains your mind to stop turning setbacks into identity. It teaches you to separate events from self-definition. And that one skill alone can change the entire direction of your life. Because a lot of people are not destroyed by failure. They are destroyed by the meaning they attach to failure. Now let me be clear, this does not mean life is fair. It does not erase grief, illness, trauma, poverty, or real systemic barriers. Some pain is real, some obstacles are brutal. This is not about pretending otherwise. But even inside hard realities, there is still a difference between pain and powerlessness. And the people who rebuild, even in terrible circumstances, are usually the people who refuse to make suffering their identity. They feel it, but they do not build their home inside it. They keep asking, what can I still do? What is still mine to control? What is the next move? That is agency, and agency is where change begins. At the end of the day, the mindset shift that separates winners from everyone else is not that winners never doubt themselves. It is not that they never fail. It is not that they have easier lives. It is that they stop waiting to feel like a different person before they start acting like one. They act first, then they let those actions reshape identity. They stop asking, how do I force better habits, and start asking, who am I becoming through what I repeatedly do? Because your life changes when your identity changes. And your identity changes when you keep collecting evidence for a stronger self. So here is the question. What identity have you been rehearsing without realizing it? And what is one small vote you can cast today for the person you actually want to become? Because the wall in front of you may not be a wall at all. It may just be the old version of you asking to stay in charge. And the moment you stop obeying it, your future opens. If this resonated with you, drop a comment below and tell me, what identity are you trying to leave behind? And if you want more videos on psychology, discipline, growth, and the hidden patterns that shape your life, subscribe. Because change does not happen in one dramatic moment. It happens when you stop reinforcing the wrong self and start becoming someone new on purpose.